I'm gonna hang my TV. This is a 55 inch, I think, but it's an old Scan Pro. So it's heavier than modern TVs, but I checked the weight limit on this and it's about under. So I'm gonna hang it on here. These are good brand. I buy them from Walmart. They have the 362 for $50. And this one was $20. It's not a 360 full motion. And this is what you need. This, a pencil to mark the studs. And you can use this one too. This one's is a magnet. It finds the screws that are in this stud. This is good for plaster, is what this is good for, because all that wood will throw this one off. And the magnet, they still screw them in. They screw the little woods into the big woods. So you'll find this screw, and that would be the big stud. And then this, I got some bits that I have to screw it into the wall after I figure out where I want to put it. I got the measuring tape. I'm going to measure how long the TV is to determine how high that I want it. 25.5. So I'll go over here on the wall. It's an electrical socket right there. So I'll put a 21.5. And I think I think I probably want it right here. That's where I want it. So now I'm not too concerned about it being center. So this is a drywall wall. It's drywall. So I know there's a stud right there. It's just which side this stud is on. So let's move it along. This is a center finder. They have edge finders. Be careful, because you'll be drilling holes. So you just run it across the wall and it will sense a stud. There's a stud right there. So then the arrow pops up in the center, and then I mark it. 3 lines. I'll just keep on going. So it should be 16 inches, but they changed the law around and they made it to 24 inches. See, it found it and it beeps, so I mark the arrow. That's about where I want it right there. The 2 studs right there be perfect. We'll center it, because this one can slide back and forth. But as for the studs that are 16 inches apart, and then there's houses when they're built 24 inches apart, you want to make sure this is 24 inches. Whether you have a house that is 16 inches or not, you have more play. So you can put 2 screws here, and or if it's uncenter, you can always put 2 screws on this side and move it over here. So it's over there. And then you can slide the TV as well, so you have maximum play. And that way you can always guarantee that you get 2 studs instead of 1. So make sure you get a 24-inch stud mount. And most of them don't say it, so you got to open up the box and bring a tape measure. But now that I figured that out, just to be sure, I'll check it once more with this. And yep, that's a stud. So go over here, let it calibrate before you move it. And then that's a stud. Or the stud's right here. Yep, that's a stud. He wants to read it. That's the stud. If you're unsure, you can always take a tape measure and measure from here, center, to there. Where's it at? Right here, center. It's 16 on center, so in this case, it's edge to edge. It's edge to edge. See how it's 16 on center. They started changing it. Normally it's 16 on center. It's center to center. I don't know why it's like this. They have, but it's within, you know, normally it's 24, so it's all the way right here. And you'll know that. So it's pretty much, you know what I mean? It's, and this one right here never really lies. I don't have no problems with the thing not finding the studs or doing it. And besides, when I hang it up, it's gonna, I'm gonna run it again and make sure the holes are on studs that I mark. So for right now, let's unbox this. I don't like ever hanging TVs on drywall because I just don't do it. It's not good practice. So I make sure I get wood. That's why you make sure your mount's 24 inches long. And what I mean by that is this piece is 24 inches. This is 26. So now what I do is this has its own level, but I like to use my own level because sometimes this little thing is crooked. One time I came across that. And now this is the back of the TV. Normally there'll be screws here already. So you don't want to use them. You can. In this case, I may. It won't make a difference. Some of them don't come with screws. But some of them come with screws. That's up to you what you want to use. But if you don't see how they come right flush, a lot of TVs don't do that. And you're gonna have to use the longer bolt because you wanna have maximum bite, and you can use the spacer to kind of make it tight, which I like to do in most cases. But these screws are good because they're already set. Just take off the washers. You know, we don't need the washers. These screws are good. So see how they're long enough? By the time this goes through here, they'll have more than a lot bite. Perfect bite. But being this is a heavier TV, well, they'll have more than enough bite. So I don't want it to show that much. So I can kind of put it in the middle. Because if you put it in the middle, or somewhat to where it doesn't show the best position, and it's not high enough, you can always reposition these bars to go higher and then drop the TV down or take it up a little bit more. But this is on the wrong side. These should always be on the outside. So that goes over here. So I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth hole. I like to run it in reverse just so I make sure that the screw's on track and I'm not stripping nothing. Because I've done that before as well. And when you do this, make sure you pull down. That way, that little bit, because there's no room with this mount to mess up. So if you make sure that it's perfect the first time, because just because this one is up higher on the hole than the other one, it will throw it off that much. And you'll think you did something wrong. You'll be putting a cardboard behind it just to try to fix it. But this is the problem. And even if you did do it wrong, that would be your answer. Just click this, put it up. It was going to be within a hairline. You can't mess it up that bad. So now that that's done, I guess they're both on the inside. And somebody either put this in wrong, or they're not usually like this, both on this side. Normally this would be on this side, but I don't know why that's on this side and this is on that side. I have no idea, but these are magnetic, so you can always put them behind your TV. That way you can hide them if you have a longer TV. Maybe you hanged it on a lower setting and it kind of came down here past the TV. You can put it up and put it on a magnet. And now for this part, the wall part, I'll put this up. I know it has a level on it, but I like to use my own level just because sometimes this level is crooked. And so I measured the TV from the top to the bottom of the hook so I can account for that drop. And I marked a line right here, and that's the line where I want to put this, so the TV will be perfect with my mark and perfect with the bottom and be exactly where I want it. So I do that, I make sure it's level, and then I just mark it. X here, X there, X here, and X there. And normally I would use the drill bits because other ones have bigger screws. But these screws are kind of small. But how you would do it is get a drill bit that's, look at the both of the tips, and get a drill bit that's smaller of the screw. And you want to just take some of that wood out so it would account for the screw and it would avoid cracking. But this one's so small, it's not going to really crack. But I know that's bad practice, so I got my drill bits out anyway. So this is the smallest one that I have, but you can see I have the drill bit right there, and you can see how the drill bit will take the middle out for the screw, but the teeth of the screw would be in there perfect. Now one of these, if you have one of these guns and not an impact gun, then you're going to want the setting on 1. So the screw actually goes in the wood. If you have it on 2, the torque is less and the gun's just going to conk out on you. So what I do now is I have the holes marked, so I'm going to double check everything and make sure that's a stud right there. So the stud's actually right here. So the measurement actually threw it off. So that's why it wasn't 16 on center. So I'm gonna go right there and run down. So I want it center. I'll just put it like this. Okay. It's a little hard hanging a big TV by yourself, but this is the easy part. you don't want to have it on one and have it slam into the wall because you stripped the screw out. So you kind of let go of the torque a little bit and make sure it's perfect. Because if you over tighten it, you'll make it weaker. Put the TV up, take the feet off. Them screws right there, some of them are just clipped in. You can just pull this right out. And there you go. I got my TV up.